And that means it's time for a YouTube video. Normally we'd be on Facebook, but I'm doing the old switcheroo and gonna play on YouTube on Saturdays from here on out. So let me just adjust this. Hey Kathy, appreciate you coming over. I'm gonna do a quick check over here off stage left to be sure that I'm actually transmitilating something somewhere. Don't know what it's doing. It's like acting like YouTube. I don't know. There we go. All right. So here we are. I just had to turn the fan on. My goodness, we went from winter to summer, it feels like. I mean, obviously not quite summer, not exactly summer, but gorgeous day out. My goodness. Poor Finny was a little too warm. Hey, Rosie, appreciate you joining. Hi, Marva. Thank you. Appreciate that. I was so happy when the Savings Are in Bloom. Hi, Mary. When the Savings Are in Bloom special came out and we saw the flyer and they told us that we had the Celebrate Sunflowers bundle back. It's one of my favorites and it was a nice reminder to use it. How about that? Hey, Brooke, appreciate you coming. Hi, Shelly. We're going to wait just a little bit and see if people make it over because this is different. Hey, Faith, appreciate you coming. Lorraine, glad to see you. Thank you for joining us. All right. Well, so while we're waiting here for just a sec, let me just talk about Savings Are in Bloom. This is all through the month of March. And you get 20% off the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, plus 20% off these selected bundles. And these are all bundles whose dies will work through the smaller opening of the mini die cutting machine. Hi, Alice. Hi, Claudia. And my tooties? My toots? I'm not saying that right. I'm sorry. Hey, Betty and Christine and Linda. Appreciate you guys coming over. So there are a lot of really great bundles in this set. And they even brought back some, you know, when a stamp set and die bundle moves to a new catalog, to the next catalog, the bundle pricing goes away. But they've brought it back, and now you're getting 20% off instead of 10%. So that is really cool. And that's the Art Gallery Celebrate Sunflowers and Garden Wishes bundle. All of the others are still current bundles. So there's quite a few things to pick from, including All Squared Away, which is wonderful, and the mini die cutting machine. And when you purchase in March from me, you'll get the super duper mega tutorial set. You don't have to purchase any of those bundles. You don't have to purchase a mini cutting machine. Just any purchase during the month of March, you're going to get that massive tutorial set on top of your peppermints and your ordering gift and the Daffodil Daydreams tutorial. So a lot of opportunity to get some really cool stuff. Hey, Tara, appreciate you coming. There you go. That's a really good idea to use all of the sale bundles during the next couple of weeks. All right, so here's our card. Celebrate Sunflowers, duh. And I paired it up with some Heart and Home DSP, which is perfectly perfect for this. And then on the inside, we've got, I might have gotten a little carried away with metallic bees and butterflies, but I'm thinking garden bees, garden butterflies, they're all there, okay? It's spring, everybody's springing and coming over. All right, and then we have our envelope. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we get done, guess you didn't yell loud enough. I missed the YouTube part and I've been sitting all alone on Facebook. I'm so sorry. I must have not yelled quite loud enough. When we get done, I'm going to take a few minutes. I have someone who wanted to know how to put stickers on a cling stamp set, so we're going to do that at the end. So just don't let me forget to, get all discombobulated and forget to do that. Okay? Alrighty, so all of these die cuts will be on tomorrow's blog. You don't even need to take notes. I mean, cool, right? The first thing I'm going to do is I have a square of the DSP, the wood green. All of the designs in the Heart and Home DSP are floral on one side and then this gray and white wood grain on the other. So that's really awesome. For years now, we've been telling Stampin' Up, we want wood grain, and boy, did they come through. I mean, boy, howdy. All right, I'm going to adhere this to a smoky slate matte, and I'm just eyeballing that this frame is my normal frame, right? So it looks normal into my eyeballs. And now I'm going to do this slightly smaller piece. Now, the gap between the two panels is going to be larger than you would normally see, but the only way to make it be more like, you know, right, in air quotes, right, is to start dealing in 16ths and maybe even 32nds. And I just didn't want to do that to you. So I decided in my military mind that that gap was perfectly acceptable. So there we go. That's it. That's all we had to do to make the card front. I did a few die cuts ahead of time. That's not the bowl with the die cuts. This is the bowl with the die cuts. All right, so let's go through that. The sunflower dies, one of its bestest things is, hey, Teresa, is, in Mary's opinion, besides the amazing sunflower die, are these leaves. I just really, really love them. They're kind of perfect. And I'm a leaf lover. So I cut 3 of these leaves, 2 of the 2 stemmers, and 1 of the 1 stemmers. Come out of there, 1 stemmer. This is brushed metallic cardstock. It's the darkest of the 3 colors in there. And remember, this is one of those ones that you can't find in a catalog, but you can find it on the online store because it's still available. It's just not, it's between active catalogs right now. So you can still get brushed metallic cardstock. So I cut 3 of those out, and I also cut 3 each of the little leafy leaves. I did the solid and the detailed die cuts in garden green, and I've already adhered them together for 2 of them, but we'll do this 3rd one right quick. And I just like to use my tweezers because I can, and I have them. Ah, hey, Marie, appreciate you joining, and I appreciate the kind words. So I'm just going to use a little bit of liquid glue, and by a little bit of liquid glue, I mean truly a little bit of liquid glue. Liquid glue is my very favorite adhesive, but you do have to be a little judicious about using it, because the good news is it squishes out and covers your cardstock. The bad news is it squishes out and covers your cardstock. So you kind of have to be a little careful, and also be sure you own an adhesive eraser. I'm just saying. It took me like a year before I finally bought an adhesive eraser when I first started. And when I finally got it, I was like, what in the world? You are a silly, silly girl. Just go ahead and get it. Heck, get 2. All right, so I'm just going to adhere that like that. And then I'm going to adhere them to my card front. And I'm going to do roughly like so. But I'm going to use these little doohickeys right here and kind of intersperse them. These will be like so, and like thusly, and like this sorta. Okay? So that's the start of the collage. What I have here is a sunflower. Isn't that weird that I would use a sunflower on a card that uses the Celebrate Sunflower set? I mean, really, I'm just saying. I think, Annette, I would say the liquid, if you are getting warping, you're probably using too much. Okay, you can really use just the very littlest bit. It's way, way, way good glue. So whatever you think is right, use about half of that and see if that doesn't fix your issue, okay? Now, I wanted to show you something about these dies and the stamp. When I stamped this, I stamped it using the Stamparatus. When you first get this, these things go together, okay? This all works together. So the hardest part of this whole set is figuring out where everything lines up, okay? What I recommend is once you figure it out, do like I've done and put in a mark on one spot on the die and on the detailed die and on the stamp set, okay? That way you can just stamp everything up and you'll know that that little dot is going to be real close when it comes time to cutting things out, okay? That's just my tip right there, and you can take it for what it is worth. So let me put this back. Hang on a second. It's kind of like a little puzzle. Okay, there we go. Now, I had this pretty close, but I think I've turned it, so let me see what I got here. Just a second. I'll find it. I'll find it. There we go. Another little tip, if you get yourself dislodged or discombobulated, is you'll see that there's a couple of petals that have a sharp turn like that, and they correspond with the sharp turn on the stamped image. So you can kind of go, oh, well, it's going to be down there somewhere in the general vicinity, right in there. And then it's going to like click into place like a, well, do you see what is happening as I'm saying all of that and then it's not working? There it is, right there. Okay, you can see how it really just sort of falls into spot, and the outside cut edge matches the outside cut edge of the stamped image. Okay, now before I put that on, I'm going to take my dark, this was stamped in Bumblebee and cut out, and I'm going to take my dark Stampin' Blend. All right, and I'm going to color these. Now I am deliberately not coloring real solidly, okay? I want to leave that white showing through, just because I think it adds a little texture, a little movement to the petals. You know, there's people right now who, if they knew me when I was flying and was in the military, they'd be like, did she just say movement on a paper flower? Who even knew that she had anything remotely resembling a creative side? No, we didn't know. We did not know. These things we knew. But yes, it really does kind of create a little movement behind the die cut that we're going to put on there. All right, so we're just going to do that real quick. Perhaps y'all are seeing my poor Stampin' Blend marker is really needing to be replaced. I have been a little rough with it, and it's old, and it's time for a new pack of the Daffodil Delights. Next order, note to self. All right. We'll just get that colored in. Isn't this the most beautiful? I love this stamped image. We have a store near us in the little town of Tyrone, and they have these ginormous, I mean like 7 foot, 8 foot tall metal sunflowers. So they've got metal poles that these beautiful painted metal flowers are on top of. I want one desperately. I have no need for it at all, but I really, really want one. Because really, what is more cheerful than a sunflower? I tried to grow them last year. They didn't do so good. So I've tried again because my learning curve is pretty flat. And hope springs eternal also, right? Let me see if I've missed any comments. I am so sorry, but I'm like yakking and then I'm coloring, and so I can't watch. Couldn't even almost. Hi, Suzanne. Appreciate you joining. And just so you know, guys, from here forward, Thursday at 1 will be on Facebook, and Saturday at 7 will be on YouTube. I have no logical reason for making that change. I just did it because, you know, I wanted to confuse you. How am I doing? How am I doing? I've actually very strongly considered only doing YouTube, but I'm not going to go there. Okay, so that's all colored. What I'm going to do now, now see, I done did it again. Okay, so I'm going to look for those sweepy ones. There we go. We're getting close. We're close. We're real close. There we go. Right there. I'm going to use some liquid glue. Bunnies eat your sunflowers. That is sad. I'm just going to use liquid glue around the center. I'm going to leave the outer petals loose. And let's see. I'm going to make sure I get that in the right spot. There we go. It really helps to look for those sweepy ones right there. All right, so we'll give that a little push. I also cut a flower center. This is the flower center, and I cut it with this from the same brushed metallic, and I'm going to pop that on with a dimensionale because there's really no such thing as more dimensionals than you need. Well, I mean, I suppose there could be. The post office loves it when we do a lot of dimensionals, just saying. All right, and there we go. So there's our flower. How beautiful is the flower? And then he is going to go right here like this after I get done adhering all of these leaves, okay? So let me go ahead and start doing that. And I'm using liquid glue for the leaves because we're gonna have plenty of dimension on this card. And let's see, we'll do our double banger. Also with liquid glue. Here's another tip. When you're using your liquid glue and any foil paper, try your double darndest to not get liquid glue on the foil paper, because it's really, really, really hard to get glue off of foil. So do your best, be as careful as you can be, very, very judicious, and you'll be fine. Okay? Sunflowers grow well when they pass through passing birds. Oh yes, there you go. There you go. Yes, exactly. They must need to be processed a little bit. Makes them work better. Probably like soaking them in a paper towel before you plant them. I don't know. I didn't do that this time because, you know, why would I do that this time? That would be crazy. All right, we're going to put him right there like that. And then this guy will be like this. And I'm going to just double check that that's still doing what I want. Yes, it is. I'm going to turn that just a little bit like that. And then this guy is going to be down past our sentiment. So he's going to look odd right now, but he'll be fine when we get done. And obviously I have a little bit of an advantage because this is the second one I've done of this. So it takes a little longer to find where everything wants to go. But the good news is you'll have the tutorial and you'll have all the pictures and you'll be able to recreate this quite easily. I hope. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go almost down to the bottom. Put this up again. Yep, that'll be fine. Just like that. Okay, now it stains. Yes, in fact, it does. Now I'm going to take a couple of glue dots. Oops, time to trim some glue dot tail here. There we go. I'm going to put a couple of glue dots right in here. Right in here. And then use them to do a couple of winds of linen thread. Okay. And I'm giving that kind of a little massage to help it straighten out just a little bit, okay? Because it can get kind of kinky. It can be kind of kinky, and that can be kind of annoying. All right, so we're just going to wind this around like so. See what I'm doing is I'm just winding it, letting it be loose, and then winding it around and sticking it on a glue dot. So it's going to be very loose. This is the tamed down version of a Farrah Fawcett bow. Like, it's not a bow at all. But it's pretty under a sunflower, I think. There we go. There we go. And then we'll just click this off. By click this off, what I meant to say is snip this off. Hello, 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 hello. I say goodbye, and you say hello, hello, hello. Okay. And then I'm going to put some dimensionals on the card front. A lot of times it's easier to do that, especially when you're navigating around stuff. All right? And you can just kind of keep going back, put your sunflower back on, and be sure you're not getting carried away. So I'm not going to go any further that direction. I'm going to put a few more over here to support it, like that. And then we'll pull off the little covers and stick it on. You do not need double stack dimensionals for this because there's no bow that you're particularly going on. So that helps it keep its slim figure. Helps it keep its slim figure. Okay. And this little flower has no particular up or down, right or wrong, in or out. So we're just going to set it like so. So there's our card front. And now we're going to make a sentiment. So what I did is I cut a strip of the wood, same wood grain, DSP, and I made a smoky slate mat. Now this little doohickey right here, this kind of reverse banner, is from the Banner Pick-a-Punch. All right, and it's from this side right here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and stamp this with a sentiment in Garden Green from Celebrate Sunflowers. Thank you, Margene. Appreciate that. Now, we're going to talk about putting stickers on stamps in just a few minutes. But whenever you use these non-see-through, so the cling stamps, I always, even when it's not new to me, I always stamp it on my scrap paper somewhere. And I like to use my grid paper because that tells me I've lined up as best I think I can with that grid line. And now if this sentiment is straight with that, I should be good to go. All right. So that's just a note. And I'm going to do the bestest that I can to put it right in the center and as straight as I can get it. And then, you know, if it isn't perfect, I'm going to remind myself that this is a piece of art. There's only 2 of these in the whole world. And someone should be pleased to see something that isn't perfect because it means it wasn't produced in a printing machine at Hallmark's house. Okay, so that worked out. I'm just going to adhere it to my smoky slate mat. And then we'll get it on our card front and we can add some bees and butterflies. Bees and butterflies are free to fly, fly away. Okay, there we go. I know, I'll be quiet now. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use liquid glue under this part and dimensionals under this part. Am I really going to do that? Yes. No, I'm really going to actually use dimensionals on the whole thing because I think we can do that. And I may do let me double check and see if I did a double stack over here. Yes, I did. Okay, so you can't tell, but under this part, this portion, I used a double stack of dimensionals, and over here, I used a single stack. Okay, that helps to make up the difference in those levels. Oh, yay, I'm glad you're liking it, Annette. Okay, now let me see where I said I was going to do that. Okay, here's double stack. And a double stack, you put one on, take the cover off, and put another over the top. And then we can do that right next to it again, I think will be fine. Double stack. And then let me cut this again. There it is. All right, I'll cut this little edge. I'm working on getting all of my little partial sheets of dimensionals gone so that I can tidy up my Stampin' Storage desk caddy because it was getting a little full. Just saying, a little full. Alrighty, there we go. And now I like to also just double check that I know where everything wants to go before I take the covers off. And yep, that's about where I'm going to go. And my double stack and single stack ratio is exactly right. I love when that happens. So we'll take this off and try to line it up as best I can. Sure, that looks good. Okay, now. Uh-oh. Hope he feels better, Jenny. Be careful. And tell him we hope he feels better. All right, I'm going to take some glue dots and I'm going to adhere some bees, some little bee trinket people with glue dots here and there and everywhere, all over the world. Come off of there. You guys know what the perversity of an inanimate object is? It's where something that has no will, can make no decisions, cannot, in theory, decide, I am going to bamboozle her today. Bamboozles you. That's the perversity of an inanimate object. Now you know a new term. And you can use it and wow your friends and family. All right, one more. And then I'm going to put some butterflies on. Because really, have you ever seen a garden with bees and no butterflies? No. No. What kind of garden would that be? That would not be a good garden. Not a good garden. All right, so now I'm going to put a larger one. We're going to put these on the sentiment only. And we'll put one over here. I love these butterflies. They're so cool because they're so flat. You see how flat those are? They don't really add any thickness or anything to your card. All right, so there's our card front. Let's go ahead and make a card innards. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this sentiment in the middle. And I'm going to just tell you that this stamp and I had some words today because it did not want to stamp straight almost no matter what I did. So I'm definitely going to remind myself what I had to do. So I've got a whole new level is right on that line, and you can see it's got a little to the like that. And so I'm going to it the other way just a little bit, and we're going to see what happens. Everybody hold your breath. I want to hear a collective intake of breath. And wait, don't hold it yet. Okay, now take your intake of breath and hold it. All right, so there would be what I would say is straight, and there would be my little bitty cockamamie. Come on, Mama, come on, come to Mama. Mama wants a straight stamp. Oh God, here we go. I'll take it. Oh, boom chakalaka, that worked. See why you do a pre-stamp? So you can kind of figure out what you need to do to make it parfait. So you can make it parfait, 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 parfait. Okay, now, there's another little tiny flower in Celebrate Sunflowers, and I am going to use it. And this flower also bamboozled me a little bit, getting the coloring the way I wanted it. But I finally did, and I think you're going to like it. I'm going to stamp it right here in Bumblebee in the corner of my basic white panel. And then I'm also going to stamp in a fit of efficiency because I want to also do another thing with you tonight. And I don't want to keep you here until the midnight. I'm going to go ahead and stamp it on my envelope. Okay. And then I'm going to close this so I don't do something dumb. Not that I've ever done anything dumb with an open stamp pad. Okay, now I have my light Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to color the leaves and the flower. I'm sorry, the petals and the innards of the flower with the light Daffodil Delight. Once again, I am making zero effort to color all the way in. In fact, I'm almost oppositely making the effort to not color them in all the way, okay? Because I just don't want that. Nobody wants that on this card. We'll do the envelope. Remember, when you are using blends on an envelope, you either want to go really light, like I'm doing, or stick something on the inside, like one of your stamp acetates or a piece of window sheet, or, you know, almost anything you could put in there just to protect the back, because the blends will bleed through. So if you get really heavy-handed, you can end up with coloring on the back of your envelope, which sometimes you can stamp over and hide and act like you meant to do that, but sometimes you can't. And then we're going to color the inside with the same color and let the shading that Stampin' Up! Has given us do that work right there. And then I'll take my light crumb cake and just really lightly go in the middle of each flower. Okay. And finally, for the leaves, my light Granny Apple Green. You know, even if there was a garden green blend, I don't think I would use it here because I like the lighter green. I think the dark green on this envelope without anything as a counterpoint like the DSP is on the card front, I don't think I would want that. Okay, so there we go. We'll set that aside. And then I'm going to adhere it to a smoky slate matte. I know. That's a good idea, Pamela. That is a good idea. Very good. Whatever you can do to help yourself remember when you have something that isn't exactly perfect, whether it's because your sticker application wasn't great or because the stamp was not engraved onto the rubber exactly right. Whatever it is, you need whatever you can do to help you get it the way you want it on your card. All right, we're going to use a Daffodil Delight card base. Oop. And so we'll stick this in with liquid glue, trying to get as straight as possible. And then we're going to use some dimensionals. There are dimensionals. Okay, here's my... See, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. If I could only declutter my house as easily as I have decluttered my Stampin' dimensional stash. If only. Oh yeah, sure. If wishes were horses, beggars would ride. I know you know that one too. That is not a valid dimensional right there. Here, we'll put this one on in the middle because it's big. Look at that. Almost done with this sheet. Almost done with this sheet. Okay. And to the trash with you. To the trash with you. Thanks, Rosie. All right. Yeah, if you'll subscribe and hit the bell button, that way when I go live, whether it's a planned one or a pop-up, because I've gotten a new pre-order or something in, you will get the notification and will be able to join me live, which is always fun. So subscribe and then hit notifications all, and you'll be cooking with gas. Okay, here we go. We're almost done, and then I'm going to show you my ever so amazing and nearly patented technique for putting on. No, it's totally not. It's just what I have found that works for me to mostly get stickers on how they're supposed to be. Okay, there we go. So there's our card. And we'll go ahead and put another piece of the Heart and Home DSP on the envelope of Lapa. Hey, Karen, appreciate you joining. And I'm going to use the garden green design. You could use one of the wood grains if you wanted, but I liked the green. My goodness, I got stuff sticking all over me. I got stuff sticking all over me. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. Wait. Cool thing about these little buffalo. That's silly. They're not buffalo. They're brass butterflies. Is that they're little. So they're thin, so they work really nicely on the inside of a card. And I think any card benefits from little butterflies. Just saying. Like that. Okay, there we go. Whew, can't believe I almost forgot that. I almost forgot butterflies. How is that even a thing? How can even anybody say forgot butterflies with a straight face? I don't think so. It's not even a thing. All right, a quick fussy cut. Which is really not very fussy, right? Okay. All right, there we go. Beautiful card. Don't forget to Celebrate Sunflowers. If this is not already in your stash, 20% off is pretty hard to beat, okay? So be sure to get it. All right, now, I just recently purchased Boughs and Blossoms, which is a cling stamp set, and I had not stickerized it yet. So let's talk about what I do. I keep this sheet, and I also keep the rubber. Now, you can not keep the rubber if you want. I keep it because at some point I'll end up selling my stamps, and sometimes I don't know who will get it, and they might want to use the rubber. So the first thing I do is I just take everything out, all of the stamps out, like so. This is the hardest part right here. Not really. There's no hard part. This is really easy. Okay, and we'll just set that aside so that we have it. Now, on your sticker sheet, you'll see one side has a division and one side doesn't. So this is the side you're going to work from. So we're going to find the image that is corresponding. And you do want to take a half a moment to be sure you are putting it on straight. Now, this one is a little bit confusing because it looks like it ought to be symmetrical. But if you look, you can see that the center of the flower is an oval, and it goes cockamamie like that. So this is the correct way to orient the stamp onto the sticker. Copy? Copy. Capiche? Capiche. So once I know that, and I know it's going to be like that, take the sticker back, the back off of the stamp set, and I start at one edge, and I put the edge of the stamp against the little lip where the two stickers were. Okay, so I just lay it like that. I've still got it picked up on with my right hand, and then I am lining up the edge as I go along. So I haven't stuck it down yet. I'm still making sure that I'm happy with the orientation, because once you stick this down, you probably got it, right? I mean, it's kind of there. And then I just leave that on there for now because it works just fine. So we'll try another one. This one is way more obvious which way it goes. When I'm doing one that's long like this, I start at a narrow end. So I would really never stick it on like this. I would always go like so. So I'm lining this edge up of the top of the stamp with the top of the sticker. And then I'm looking at this top line because I am assuming in my mind that if this top line of the stamp meets this top line of the sticker, that the bottom is going to follow suit. 99 times out of 100, that is a true statement. That is exactly what happens. Okay, and then you can lay it down. All right, so let's do another one. Repetition is a teaching technique. Perhaps you didn't know that. I have a master's in education, so there you go. Now you know. All right, so this is the way this goes, and it's hard to say which side will be easier, so I'm just going to go with this one. And I'm lining this top up with the top of the sticker before I set it down. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? I'll keep doing this without maybe yakking quite so much. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and comment, and I will attempt to answer them while we are on here live. This isn't very difficult, but it's important. If you're going to use the stickers, you really kind of want to be sure they're as straight as you can get, because that takes a little more of the guesswork out of your stamping. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell which sentiment goes with which, but this goes like so, and then I'll start at a narrow end and lay it down. You'll see I'm leaving the stamps right on the sticker sheet, and that's where they will live, inside the stamp case for me. All right. I did discover that before I got smart enough to remember to keep the sticker sheet, I was getting rid of it, and a lot of times I would open my stamp case and the stamps would be stuck really hard to the top of the case. All right. Yeah, Mary, you do have to be a little careful, but I really like these stickers. I like having them on. I like being able to see without having to think about where everything is. Do I still have to do a test? Yeah, I do. But at least I have 90% of the questions out of my head, and they stick so well. The old ones just were horrible. They would not stick to the blocks at all, but these stick wonderfully. So for me, it's worth it. Now, I will tell you, I don't go through and just put stickers on all my stamp sets. So when I pull a set out, if it doesn't have stickers, then I stickerize it. But I don't like do 20 stamp sets at a time. That just would make me crazy. Okay, one more. And we'll be done. So I should be quiet and make sure I'm putting it on the correct way. That looks like correct. And there we go. So then what I'll do is I just keep the rubber inside and the sticker sheet with these stickers on it. And that way nothing is sticking to anything when you open it up. Alrighty. So that's that. Shelly, I hope that helped. And if you've got any more questions, I'm certain you know how to reach me. I hope you do. All right, guys, I appreciate you taking the extra time with me tonight, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend. Thank you for joining me on YouTube. We'll see ya. Ta.